I wish I was kidding. I wish I could say this was some dark, twisted misunderstanding, but no. This woman actually barged into my son's funeral, pointed at the flower arrangements, and declared them non-compliant with HOA aesthetics. And that was just her opening act. There we were, me, my wife, my son's friends, all shattered. And she's yelling across the cemetery like she's inspecting aisle 6 at Walmart. These chairs weren't approved. That canopy's too large. You're damaging the grass. Nobody moved. We all just stared. For a second, I thought I must be hallucinating. But then she pulled out her phone and started taking pictures of the coffin. I snapped. I completely lost it. But here's the part that still makes my blood boil. When I called the police, they told me it was a civil HOA matter. Tell me anywhere else on earth, would this slide? Here's how it started. My son, Ben, passed away 2 weeks before his high school graduation. A drunk driver. One of those calls that rips the floor out from under you. The next few days are a blur, just silence. The kind that hums in your bones. We live in one of those cookie-cutter neighborhoods, beige houses. Beige rules run by an HOA that thinks it's the FBI. At the top sits Cynthia Dawson, or, as everyone secretly calls her, Karen Supreme. Cynthia had already tangled with us over trash cans visible from the sidewalk, mulch that was uninspired, stuff like that. But I never thought she'd go full supervillain. For Ben's funeral, we didn't want a stiff church service. He hated suits. He loved being outside. So, we got permission from the cemetery to hold a small memorial under this old oak tree he used to climb as a kid. Permit in hand, we set up some folding chairs, a little speaker, and sunflowers. Cue Cynthia, clipboard in hand, walking toward us like the Grim Reaper's event planner. She didn't just complain. She commandeered the funeral. Mid-eulogy, while my brother was struggling through memories of Ben's goofy laugh, Cynthia stormed between the chairs and barked. This volume violates community noise ordinances. I thought it was a sick joke. It wasn't. I tried to stay calm. I walked over and said, Cynthia, this is my son's funeral. Her reply? This is a shared space. You didn't consult the HOA. I swear I felt my fists clench on their own, but my wife grabbed my arm. Probably the only reason I still have a clean record. Meanwhile, Cynthia loudly narrated into her phone like she was filing a police report. The father is approaching in an aggressive manner. Appears emotionally unstable. Lady, I just buried my child. And it gets worse. She called a tow truck. On the funeral home's van. The tow truck driver shrugged and said, she pulled the same stunt at a wedding last week. Nobody knew what to do. So, I did what any sane man would do. I called the police. Told them everything: harassment, disrupting a funeral, towing the hearse. But after a long pause, the dispatcher said, is this within an HOA jurisdiction? I said yes. She replied, then it's a civil matter, sir. You'll need to take it up with the HOA board. I just stood there, mouth open. My son's coffin was 10 feet away, and they wanted me to file a complaint form. I walked back and found Cynthia sitting in a chair, legs crossed, flipping through the funeral program like she was leaving a Yelp review. She looked up and said, you should have followed the proper channels. This could have been avoided. That was it. Something inside me broke, not grief, not rage. Something colder, sharper. She thought she was untouchable. And if no one else would stop her, I would. That night, I didn't sleep. I just laid there, hearing her voice on loop. You should have followed the proper channels. She crashed my son's funeral. Humiliated my family. Got away with it. I started digging, not for revenge. At first, I just needed to know. How? How does one woman in a power blazer get to override grief with a clipboard? Turns out Cynthia's power was smoke and mirrors. Fake notices. Bullying. Legal-looking letters that meant nothing. And fear, lots of it. But not from me. Not anymore. Ben used to say I had dad's superpowers, the quiet kind. It was time to suit up. I wouldn't fight Cynthia with lawyers. I'd beat her with a show. First, I played possum. I sent Cynthia a sugary email. Thank you for clarifying HOA guidelines. I'll be more mindful. She replied in 5 minutes. Glad we're on the same page. Smiling face with smiling eyes. Classic narcissist bait. She thought she'd won. Then, I went door to door. Not complaining, just listening. It didn't take long. Turns out nearly everyone had a Cynthia horror story. One guy said she fined him for aggressive wind chimes. A woman said she reported her dog to animal control for barking during a Zoom call. The mailman? followed for parking too long. Nobody fought back because everyone was too tired, too busy, too scared. But me? I had nothing left to lose. Then came the masterstroke. I volunteered for the Neighborhood Beautification Committee. Cynthia was thrilled. Thought I'd been broken. She gave me access to HOA calendars, contacts, even her personal notes. And there it was. The Garden Gala, Cynthia's pride and joy. Think, Met Gala for HOA elites. String quartet, red carpet, champagne fountains. And guess where she was hosting it? The exact same cemetery lawn. Under Ben's oak tree. No permit. No approval. Just a smug note in her planner. Location secured. No pushback expected. Bingo. The day of the gala arrived. Blue skies. Birds chirping. Picture perfect. I got there early. Set up folding chairs. Picnic blankets. A photo of Ben. A little speaker playing his favorite playlist, classic rock and weird indie stuff. At first, it was just me and my wife. Then neighbors started arriving. Families. Friends. Even the mailman, six-pack in hand. Then came Cynthia. Wide-brimmed hat. Clipboard. Red-faced rage. She stormed up and hissed. "You're trespassing. This is a private HOA event." I handed her a printed permit with a smile. "Actually, Cynthia, you're the one crashing." She sputtered. "This is harassment. I'm calling security." I shrugged. "Cool. They'll love seeing your unpermitted booze tent, your banned alcohol, and your unlicensed caterers." The cemetery manager showed up next, looked around, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Only one of these events was properly booked. The rest of you need to leave." Cynthia's mouth worked, but no sound came out. Then Mr. Martinez, our quiet neighbor, stepped forward and said, "I've been recording since she tried to cancel the violinist. You want the footage?" I smiled. "For the scrapbook." Cynthia tried to storm off, caught her heel in the grass, tripped, and face-planted into a tray of mini quiches. The applause started slow, then spread across the entire gathering. Applause for Ben, not for her. After that, things changed. Neighbors started talking more, laughing more. The next HOA meeting was standing room only. Cynthia didn't even show up, sent some ridiculous email blaming smear campaigns and deepfakes. Nobody bought it. They voted to strip the HOA president of almost all their powers. Guess who proposed the motion? Mr. Martinez. Now, once a year, we hold the Ben Tree picnic. No permits. Just stories, music, and way too much potato salad. The oak tree? It's blooming like never before. Cynthia still lives here. But she's quiet now. No more clipboards. No more threats. Just a sad Lexus sitting in the driveway and a dying garden. Funny how things wilt when no one's afraid of you anymore. Moral of the story. She crashed my son's funeral. I turned it into a celebration. All it took was creativity, heart, and a community finally saying enough.